We're here at Yosemite Lakes in Yosemite. Yosemite Lakes is a part of Thousand Trails, and Thousand Trails is a membership organization where if you have an RV and you like to get into the outdoors, if you have a membership, you can rent places like this. They have an assortment of trailers, cabins, and yurts that you can rent, and also other RVs and different campgrounds. They have campgrounds all over the United States, and whenever you feel like you wanted to go someplace, you can just book a site. So this weekend, my wife and I decided to come to Yosemite Lakes. One of the reasons I decided that we should come up here, other than getting her out and just doing something, is the fact that I like tiny houses. I've been following the tiny house movement for quite some time. What I wanted to do is basically stay in one to see what it's actually like, so that if I decide, well, not that if I decide, but since I'm building a small house in the woods, I haven't really stayed there full time just yet. And my house in the woods is a little bit bigger than this one. It's actually 480 square feet. This is around 200 or so, because I think I measured it out with my feet, of course, that the trailer is about 22 feet long and is about maybe 10 feet wide. It's quite a bit smaller than my house. So what I decided to do is, since we are here, is basically just let you know what I think of it, because I do like the tiny house movement once again. The people that actually decided to go into the tiny house movement, they purchased their homes. And I think that's the big difference when it comes to purchasing as opposed to renting. When you purchase your own tiny house, you have input into what the house is actually going to look like, where everything is going to be, and how everything works. This house, I think, is a really good house. I think on a scale of 1 to 10, I give it about an 8 or 9, simply because it does what it's supposed to do. If I had my druthers, I would lay it out a little bit differently. In this house, you have to like each other if it's going to be two people. It's great for one person, but if you are in here with more than one, you really have to like each other, because just, if you can see behind me, just the hallway here, if somebody's at the kitchen or any place here, you have to actually touch when you're moving back and forth. The bedrooms is pretty small. You can only get maybe a full-size bed or a queen, whatever it is. It's pretty small. And it's hard to make it up because it's right in the middle. But that's one of the things I guess you get when you're in a tiny house. So living room is fine. I like that. You got your sofa, you got a bed with 2 chairs and things like that. So that's a good thing. Bathroom, I would definitely lay that out a little differently, because if you're sitting on the toilet, your knees are almost hitting the door to the shower. I would move that around a little bit, but all in all, like I said, it's pretty good. There's a mini split on the wall, so that's your heating and air. And there are about 9 or 10 others in this section of tiny houses. There's one other section that's closed now because it is January. So those are closed, but those are a little bit older. And I think this trailer that we're in, or this cabin that we're in, is the only one that actually has a mini split. Everything else has air conditionings in the side. So those are a little bit older. I think most of these tiny houses are at least 10 plus years old, because on the side, you can see where the old heating and air conditioning unit was over there. Or maybe it was just the heating, I'm not sure. But they've been doing some upgrades. So all in all, I'd say we had a pretty good time. I've got my experience living in a tiny house. It's not something that you can really guess about. You can, because it's small, you can guess that it's going to be close. And it is, but like I said, if I was designing my own tiny house, I would do the layout a little differently, because it's small. It's really small. And for those people that are doing it, I think it's a great thing, because if you're talking about sustainability, you're not using that much energy. Your carbon footprint is much, much smaller, because either heating or cooling these places, if they're insulated well, you don't have to use that much energy or utilities to do that. And that's one of the factors that I like about it. And then of course, the main thing is that these cabins or tiny houses on wheels, they don't cost as much. Sometimes If you're building yourself, maybe you could get one for $30,000 all the way up to 100 to 200, depending on what you like and how you want it laid out. But it's a good alternative to having a mortgage for 30 plus years and working just to have a place to live. In a tiny house or a cabin like this, you don't have to work your whole life to pay for it. You can get some excitement or some fun out of living here. My wife likes it. She had a good experience. I think she'd like to do it again, and hopefully we'll do it again in a different place. And I think that's going to be it. So that was my review of this tiny house in Yosemite Lakes, which is part of Thousand Trails.